Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Supersonic Podcast. Tonight, we've got a special little series we'd like to begin on this channel, where we read basically the Bible of Sonic the Hedgehog, Sonic's Ultimate Harem. Are you guys here?
Shut your bitch ass up. We're here to listen, you stupid bitch. Read the story. God damn. Shut the fuck up.
Read, motherfucker.
Read,
Read.
bitch. Do you not know how to?
I like how it was like, we're here to listen, okay? It's like, are you guys here? Read, bitch. I'm here to listen.
Alright.
Dumb motherfucker.
I'm Ricky Funkybunch. We've
Shut your. Fuck it then. Fucking read. Read.
It was a beautiful.
With the butt cheeks, run cheek, whatever your name is, funky
Probably,
butt cheeks.
probably fucking wrote in a fucking third grade level kind of shit, and this motherfucker can't even read. Fucking dumb
I'm,
bitch. Fucking
I'm
read.
trying to read, but you guys are interrupting.
Shut up and read.
Alright.
Now I'm gonna
Shut
unzip
up
my
and
pants.
read.
I'm gonna unzip my pants. Fucking beat my meat.
It was a beautiful day on planet Earth.
Oh yeah. Come on, you fucking whore. Read. Read for my pleasure.
The sun was shining, the people were just going about their business and taking in the peace and quiet. There was no screaming and running
Oh.
from any monster or robot attacks, nor were there any police responding to the usual bank robbery or two. Everything has been going well for the citizens. Somewhere in the city there was a familiar sight most of the city was used to. The sight being a blue bipedal hedgehog wearing a black sleeveless shirt, a matching pair of black fingerless gloves with blue highlights at the bottom of the wrist, bag
What a faggot.
baggy blue cargo pants with a dark blue design on his right leg, a pair of his iconic extreme gear glasses and sneakers combination with the color of the latter being black with blue highlights instead of the usual metallic crimson, playfully smirking while simultaneously shredding concrete on his skateboard just for fun. However, despite the different wardrobe, everyone who saw the hog knew the identity quite well from the countless times he had saved the world from certain doom. Everyone who saw him knew that this creature was none other than the legendary blue blur, Sonic the Hedgehog. His smirk now forming into a grin, the blur was as relaxed as he could be, and was very much enjoying the period of relief this peaceful day provided. Seconds later, he noticed the entrance of a general store coming up, which immediately reminded him of his thirst. His half, without breaking the mental beat he had set up in his head. The blur lightly stomped his foot down, halted the skateboard, and once he scooped it up, he went right inside to nab himself a bottle of water. At that time, even though he knew his penchant for doing so, the hog was certain he was. Wait. The hog was certain he wasn't bump into anyone he knew and that this trip was just going to be your average get in, get out kind of deal. But lo and behold, the moment he set foot inside the place was the moment his gaze ended up locking onto a familiar blonde bounty hunter who was smiling with glee. Her day clearly having been made by just the mere sight of her friend. Can you guess who that friend is? Did those fuckers leave?
Wait, are we supposed to say
Oh.
something?
Yeah, I know. Was that a legitimate question? Bro, I'm just fucking listening to the story, cock in hand, and you're over here asking me questions, bro. Like, fuck out of here.
Ah. Samus ran. Well, I'll be. What are you doing here? Sonic greeted with one hand going to grab the bottle on the shelf next to him while the other went to shake the hunters. Hey, you guys wanna do like a girl voice or whatever?
Oh my fucking god. I'm eating.
Alright. You know me, Sonic. I'm here just gathering some supplies.
Well, you sound pretty hot, dude.
It's good to see you, by the way. Samus responded, her voice filled with overwhelming warmth. Same here, the blur replied. It was definitely a nice surprise. So, how's life been treating you? Seconds later, the bounty hunter left out a small sigh of frustration, a reaction that Sonic had seen quite frequently. So much so, in fact, that he already was forming a reason for why this was in his mind right as she started to voice it. Oh god. Yeah, screw the voice. Well, Ridley broke out of contain.
No, you stupid bitch, you gotta do the voice. That way we know it's different characters, you fuck.
Alright. Well, Ridley broke out of containment again. Two nights ago, a mere day after I had recaptured him, which meant I had to spend a good half of the day tracking him down, which wasn't too fun, especially with the bruises I received. Just as
I hope your mom fucking walks in.
just as quickly as it came, Samus's scrunched brow quickly faded and her face went right back into being a warm smile. But other than that, it has been pretty good, I'd say. Speaking of which, how's your day been? It's been good, Sonic began before moving on to the big question he had on his mind. So, how's Snake been? Is he still going out with you? With a light shuffle, the hunter crossed her arms. He's been well, though we never were an item. We did go out for one last time the week before, but like usual, it's always been as friends. He'd always hide in a box and yell, "There!" Samus began. Though I do wonder who told you we were dating. Immediately, the image of a certain feathered pilot came into mind. Let me guess, Falco told you. Yep, Sonic said with a nod, prompting Samus to let out a slightly longer chuckle in response. That guy has practically made it his mission to figure out my love life. Sonic immediately smirked. Wait,
That made no fucking sense.
Hold on.
Was that supposed to be a Samus line? Because that would make more sense if a fucking Samus just said
So I
that.
like read ahead a little, and the first name I seen was Sonic, so I thought, oh, this must be a Sonic line. But as I read it, I realized, oh shit, wait. All right, hold on. That guy has practically made it his mission to figure out my love life. Sonic immediately smirked. Heh, no kidding. I should have known it was just him who told tricks like how he once said you were going out. With Mario? Samus finished, her lips now forming into a big stupid grin. I don't know whose line this is. I'll just pick a character. Oh, don't remind me. I still get the giggles every time I think back to that. Especially when Peach actually started believing it, which caused him to show up. Noticing she was starting to crack, the blur immediately took over. Oh my god. Which caused him to show up to Star Fox HQ, his red face, fuck, his face red as a beet. Oh, I remember that, especially when he tossed him across the room and got his beak stuck in the wall. He certainly got the idea to never mess with him, I'd say. Even before he said it, the usually the reserved bounty hunter just lost it and started to crack up like there was no tomorrow. And it was at this unusual sight that a few people that were in there around the two started doing the same. Hell, even Sonic couldn't resist cracking at least a little smile at it. After a few more seconds, soon everything mostly went back to normal, though Samus still had the occasional odd snicker or two for a little bit following this moment. Alright, what are your thoughts on it?
Gay.
Interesting.
This,
So it was Mario in it
yeah,
too?
Mario's like in it. I guess he dated Samus, or it was just a rumor. I don't know, I'm not good at reading.
I'd date
Oh,
Samus.
yeah. Have you seen like the porn of her?
No, but I've seen her in a zero suit.
Oh, yeah.
Mm.
So, Sonic, are you doing anything later? Samus questioned. The blur then lightly grasped his chin and mentally combed through his schedule for any important event he might have missed only to turn up nothing. So far, there's nothing I can think of. Why ask? Despite having years of formal military wait. Despite having years of formal military training and discipline, as well as a massive body count due to her career history, even the great Samus Aran was not immune to nervousness as her cheeks soon flushed with red seconds after the blur finished his sentence. However, the nervousness was only just that cosmetic as the girl still was able to power on through and pop the question. I thought that was about to say Sonic had military training.
Bro, he had fingerless gloves on, bro. He's obviously a
Ooh,
commando.
probably. I mean, we'll figure out, right?
So fucking gay.
Well, I was wondering if maybe you and me could go out for dinner tonight. Sonic's eyes flickered with surprise. Despite his past experiences, any time he was asked out still came as a surprise to him, and the reaction he gave as well as the tone he said it didn't put very much at ease as she wait. Despite his past experiences, anytime he was asked out still came as a surprise to him, And the reaction he gave, as well as the tone he said it in, put Samus very much at ease, as she then realized he was in the exact same boat as she was. You mean his friends, right? Smiling, the hunter shook her head. Not quite, she began. I was thinking something more on the lines of, well, I think it should be obvious. Sonic's interest perked up at the exact same time as his heart rate. You actually do want to go on a date? Carlos, you got someone?
Huh?
Did someone leave?
No, I'm here.
Did Dominic leave?
I'm
Sounds like
eating.
someone like knocked on a door.
That was your mom telling you to fucking stop reading your goddamn fan fiction.
If you're interested, of course. Sam
Or Funky Bunch, sweetie, what are you doing up so late? I think you get to grip his cock.
I'm reading Sonic the Hedgehog fan fiction, Mom.
It isn't a phase, it's who I really am, a writer of Sonic fan fiction.
Samus quickly interjected, only continuing when she saw Sonic get into his thinking stance. Because if you don't want to, that's fine as well. Are you kidding me? Sonic said moments later, his lips curling into a smile. I'd love to. Is 8 o'clock a good time? Getting over the surprise and resisting every urge to squeeze, Samus nodded. That sounds wonderful.
That's pretty hot.
Right then, Sonic went to pay for the bottle, though not once did his eyes leave the hunter. Great to hear, the blur said right as he set his board back down. Well, I'll see you then. I have to get going now. This day's still young, you know. Indeed it is. I best be heading off also. I promised to be with Peach and Zelda to catch up with them. Before they went their separate ways, the blonde bounty huntress took the blur by surprise when she pulled him across and into a very warm hug, which was quickly returned by the former. A few seconds later, Sonic sped out of the store and was once again back to boarding down the sidewalk at extremely high speeds and would every now and again perform a trick or two, which would usually get a good reaction from the crowds around him with the smiles he'd see, with being more often than not what made his day. A little while later, the blur decided to slow down for the time being to enjoy his surroundings a bit more, and as soon as he did, the gaze soon snapped to a familiar mustached man in red and blue. Wait, is that? It didn't take long before the figure's features became much more pronounced and provided some truth to what the blur guessed. Mario, Sonic called. As quickly as the words sounded off, the plumber's gaze snapped to the blue hedgehogist, and as soon as it did, a smile graced his face, and he soon started waving. Sonic! Mario called right as he started making a move towards the blur. How's it a going, my friend? It feels like it has been ages since I last saw you. That wasn't in quotation marks.
Well, a 13-year-old did write this, right?
No, wait, there's an ending quotation mark, but there's no beginning one.
Like I said, didn't a 13-year-old write this?
I don't know. When you look up like Lil Sonic on Google, it shows a black man.
Oh shit, it's my boy Tyrone, the Sonic fanfiction writer.
It's,
Shit.
it's same here, bud. I'm doing great. Smiling the blur as soon as he was within reaching distance of his friend, went to shake his hand. I just met with Samus earlier today. Really? Mario asked. How's she been holding up? The usual. You know how it is for her. In response, the plumber couldn't help but let out a chuckle. Boy, do I ever. The life of a bounty hunter is never easy. Heck, no kidding. But enough about that. How's it going, pal? Sonic asked. So, what do you think so far of it?
Um uh
I'd like to tell you that we're not even a fourth of the way through this.
it's a one spicy meatball.
What about you, Pressure?
Very interesting.
S-
Very funny.
That's all he fucking ever says. What do you think about it, Pressure? Uh, it's interesting, yes. It's very, very good.
Hey, fuck you, man. Oh
It's
my
very
god.
good. Yeah, I'm fucking dying of
So far,
cancer.
things have just
Bitch.
been terrific, Mario began. It's refreshing to actually enjoy your day without having to worry about some random threat attacking. Wouldn't you agree? Like a manager. Oh, definitely, replied
Ooh.
Sonic. A little bit later, the plumber's eyes moved over to the bound in the blur's backpack.
What the fuck are you doing? Shut the fuck up. He's reading.
You want to read this?
Yes. I mean,
What?
fuck.
What the fuck are you talking about? I didn't do anything. I'm listening.
Huh, Pressure? Fucking want to read? Huh? Can you
What?
even
No.
fucking read?
Wait for what? I'm listening.
Yeah, that's what I fucking thought.
So I see you've taken up a skateboarding. Noticing his friend's reaction, the blur showed a slight hint of confusion. I sure have. What, you didn't know I skateboard? Well, admittedly, I should have guessed. I mean, I do remember when you took up hoverboarding, but I always thought that.
Pressure, you can't act like you ain't doing shit.
Huh? What happened?
I always thought that the experience would be so exciting that it put you off just a plain old skateboarding. You know me too well. Yeah, it's nowhere near as fun as those nifty extreme gear boards, but if you ask me, I think any way you can catch some good air and shred is good. Heh, some things just never change, Mario thought to himself. So, where are you heading off to? Sonic began. Going to meet with Luigi? Mario shook his head, though his tone was still as jovial as ever. No, he's with a Daisy right now on a date at. Wait a moment, a date? Mario nodded. It's crazy, isn't it? It seemed like it was just a day or two. barely look her in the eye, let alone speak to her, and now he's just as brave as the rest of them. Nice. Hey, next time you see him, be sure to mention that I'm proud of him, alright? Will do, Mario replied with a nod. So I'm just going to a diner to get something to eat. I didn't really feel like cooking today. Would you care to come with me? I could use a good friend to talk to. Despite the answer already being on his mind, the blur's stomach did not hesitate to make sure he knew that the possibility of turning the plumber down was not going to happen. Sure thing, old buddy, Sonic replied, his arm draping around Mario's shoulder. In fact, I'll be willing to pay the tab if you'd like. Mario smiled at his response, though he still was a little perplexed by him at this very unlikely blur. In fact, last time a scenario like this occurred, Sonic's response was something along the lines of, "No thanks, bud. I'm looking more for some adventure." And yet there he was, actually not worrying so much about his life in the fast lane, and actually being willing to go for a meal with them. Well, at least I know what to ask of him about first, he thought, right as they found themselves at a table. As they waited for their opportunity to get their meals, it was Mario her, her who first broke the silence. So, how's life been for you, Sonic? Mario asked. So far, it's been spectacular. From traveling around the world to meeting and sharing smiles with new people and going on incredible new adventures, it's all been such a wonderful experience, Sonic answered truthfully. Same old Sonic, always looking for adventure, Mario said with a chuckle. So are you still as cocky as ever? What do you mean? Sonic asked. I mean, have you still been doing things like toying your enemies, throwing out the insults towards friends and foe, and have you still been smug to people? Realizing what Mario was asking, the blur quickly shook his head. Nope, I stopped that long ago. Really? Mario asked with eyes widened. Why? Well, you see, Mario, one day I stopped and had a good long thought about what I've been doing with my life and found that while I did a lot of good for the world, the way I was doing it at the time was, for lack of a better term, reckless, and all it did was put more of my friends as well as innocents in the way of harm. Following that realization, I left on a personal quest to see what others went through and used what I learned to become the calm, mature hedgehog you see before you now. Really? Well, color me shocked. That explains a hell of a lot. Moments ago, you would have cracked at least one joke about me being slow and possibly even challenging me to a race just to see me huff and puff, and yet you didn't do either one of those things. Sonic sounds like an asshole.
Well, no, he's a changed man now. You
Ah,
know, he has the goodness in him now.
I see the word Japan. Oh god.
He's such a good guy that we know he fucks over Mario
Uh,
later.
well, I hope you like the new me, Sonic again. I mean, this was a very diff. I mean, this was a very difficult change to make, as there had been moments.
kind of a weird.
I mean, this was a very difficult change to make as there hadn't been a moment in the past before my trip where I wasn't a smartass to at least one person, and I know that pissed quite a few people off, which is why I worked hard as I could to separate myself from that. The hog took a few seconds to replenish his energy with the bottled water in his pocket. I want to show people that I have the capacity to mature just like everyone else. The plumber couldn't believe what he was hearing. Of course, he'd been lying if he didn't admit he was proud of the speedster for trying to make such a massive difference in his life, but overall, he never knew he actually felt that way about his attitude. A few seconds later, when with a smile, he gently set his hand on his friend's shoulder. You know, while we may have been rivals in the past, and even if you did annoy the hell out of me back then, I just want to let you know, Sonic, you were and will always be to me one of my greatest friends. Surprised by the warmth and acceptance his former rival provided, Sonic couldn't help but give him a smile. Thanks, Mario. I appreciate that. No problem, replied Mario. Now moving on, where did you exactly visit in this trip of yours? Italy, Japan, Mobius? After taking another sip of water, Sonic let out a small chuckle. Far more than that, bud. I didn't just go to different regions, but rather I went from world to world, dimension to dimension, different timelines, and much, much more. Wow, really? Noticing the slight hint of disbelief in his friend's voice, the blur nodded. I'm serious, man. I saw all kinds of stuff. I'm sure it's not that crazy, Mario began. I mean, this is coming from the same hedgehog who was sucked through storybooks, turned into a werewolf like creature because of a piece of ancient evil getting stuck him in. And, okay, you know what? I believe you now. You've been through so much crazy crap that this doesn't sound so far fetched anymore. After letting out a short chuckle at Mario's reaction, and just as he was about to go into a bit of what he saw, his mind stumbled across a certain thought that caused his cheeks to be flushed with red and his voice to stammer slightly. Oh, and it was through this that I um, what? Mario asked, his eyebrow cocked with interest. Well, it's kind of a secret. The plumber's eyes widened a bit. The brave and Harem, formerly brash Sonic the Hedgehog, is stumbling over the simplest secret.
Sorry.
God damn it, Crusher.
Continue, dude. Sorry.
At least you did it at like the end of the sentence. He thought to himself,
Uh,
well, this isn't new. A secret, care to tell me? Beads of started to roll down the blur's head right as he found himself torn between if he should cave into honesty or if he should come up with an excuse to get the plumber to stop asking. I think it was I don't really want to talk about it. Despite his desire to respect his friend's wishes, Mario just couldn't help but find this at least a little strange. Just the very idea of Sonic, the self-described guy who loves adventure, who has seen his fair share of freaky things in his life and was not once scared to talk about it, suddenly getting all squirrely about some random harmless secret was so incredibly odd to him. In an attempt to relax him, Mario went back to a method he used to get Luigi to spill some of his secrets. Relax, Sonic. We're best friends. We've both seen our fair share of weird stuff, and it's not like this is the first time we've shared secrets. I won't tell anyone. Why tense up now? Almost immediately, a curtain, painfully obvious thought popped into his head. Is it something embarrassing? That's not it, Sonic said, shaking his head. This is different. It's complicated. Complicated? How so? Physically uncomfortable with his eyes jerking from side to side while constantly wiping his consistently sweat drenched brow. One would almost believe that the hog had committed murder. Oh. Hasn't Sonic committed murder? Like, lots of time?
I never played any of the games, so I don't fucking know.
Well, it's. Look, I'm sorry, buddy, but I don't really want to talk about the. Relax, my speedy friend, Mario said, setting his hand on Sonic's own. I promise I will not tell a single about
Gay.
this. Are you sure? Have I ever been untrustworthy? Thinking for a moment, Sonic found that, as expected, there was not a single moment his friend had let him down. Despite feeling
Never forget Yoshi, you asshole.
despite feeling a bit more confident, there was just one more question that remained. Just why do you want to hear about this so much? It just seems so weird that despite everything you've seen and done and all the secrets you've shared, this is the one time you don't want to tell anyone. Mario's lips then curled into a smirk. Plus, once I hear that one of my friends or someone close to me has a secret, I won't stop until I hear it. Is that so? Sonic asked with a nervous chuckle, to which Mario nodded. The two then waited in silence for what seemed almost like an hour or so, with Mario waiting patiently, but in anticipation, with his mind going wild on what is this supposed embarrassing secret, as whereas Sonic was deliberating with himself if he should even tell it. Finally, after a few more seconds and following him taking one glance at his friend's face, he caved. Okay, if you insist, I'll tell, Sonic began. But are you certain you won't tell anyone? I'd bet my life on it, Mario replied, to which Sonic couldn't help but chuckle. Going a little theatrical, aren't we? Well then, if that's the case, here goes. I've kind of been a, I've kind of been a. Sonic stopped for a moment to take another look at the plumber, who he saw was already leaning in closer with his brow cocked in anticipation. Realizing he couldn't turn back now, the blur took in a deep breath, held it in for a few seconds, and exhaled, his stress floating away in a matter of seconds. I'm kind of a player. Mario blinked for a few seconds, the look on his face clearly showing that he thought it was a joke, which it took only a small look from Sonic to tell he wasn't kidding. Really? Mario replied. Really? Mario replied. Gotcha.
Why is it so funny every time?
Because it's so dead quiet, and then all of a sudden all I hear is.
Can you guys hear me well?
Is that part of the story? Is that a legitimate
It's a
question?
legitimate question.
Oh yeah, I hear you loud and clear.
But you can hear the farts louder and clearer.
Yes, I can.
Alright, so Sonic's a player. Obviously, player one. But
Ugh, what a what a movie. Well, actually, I haven't seen it,
I
but
haven't seen it either. Well, that's part of it, he began. You see, by player, I mean that I've actually been in, well, let's just call them private encounters with tons of women. At that moment, the scene played out. Like it almost seemed like something straight out of a cartoon. As upon hearing the last part, Mario's eyes shot wide open with shock and bulged ever so slightly into his jaw, simultaneously going slack. The image was so ridiculous, in fact, that the Blur couldn't help but chuckle at it. A few moments later, the plumber managed to pull himself together and shook his head for a moment before making the best attempt he could to speak. Are you kidding me? Mario began, his fingers raising towards his friend. You, Sonic the Hedgehog, you had sex? Sonic nodded. With a crap load of a women? That's right, and this all happened during my trip around the world. I have even had the numbers on my phone to show for it. Sonic answered truthfully with a smile. How much of these relationships do you think are premarital?
Um, Probably a lot. Yeah.
His smile still showing, the Blur reached into his pocket and carefully pulled out his white Samsung Galaxy 3, entered his list.
Oh, shut the fuck up. Who the fuck writes that? That is some gay bullshit. Oh, I
What the
fucking whipped
fuck you
out my
mean, Tattoo?
brand new touch phone, iPhone 77654 Galaxy, fucking with a 5-year warranty contract. Shut your bitch ass up. Who the fuck wrote this? It's such shit.
So this was started in 2013.
Fucking who,
And
garbage.
pulled out his white Samsung Galaxy 3, entered his list of contacts, and started counting
By the
down.
way, folks that are fucking listening to this, we're not sponsored by fucking Samsung for their fucking Galaxy ass bullshit,
But
okay?
if you want to hit us up, just contact us.
Yeah, if you want to give us money, I do like money.
After a few seconds of waiting, he smirked and turned his attention back to the plot. Well, I can't give the exact number away, but let's just say if you saw it, you'd probably have a heart attack. Sonic answered as he browsed through some of the unread messages he discovered. Is that so? Sonic nodded. In that case, can you tell me how many digits? Can't say there's too many to count. Flabbergasted, Mario took off his hat and started using it as a makeshift fan. Oh my goodness, Sonic. So what, that was your secret all along? You've traveled around the world as well as different dimensions and time periods just to sleep with females that you encounter? Well, not purposefully, Sonic began.
Bullshit.
But now that I think about it, after you put that away, it certainly seems like it. But really, the original intent was to just have fun exploring exotic new worlds and help whoever I can along the way. Not once did I expect to get into even half the stuff I got into, but sure enough, it happened, and I'd be lying if I said I didn't enjoy every moment of it. Wow, just wow. You've got to tell me everything. Whoa, hold on, bud. I only said I'd tell you my secret. Not that I'd. Oh, what the hell? It could be fun. Alright then, Mario. I'll tell you about every gal I slept with. Really? Sonic nodded. Alright then, so I guess we should start from the top, right? That sounds about right, Sonic said. Now let's see, who did I sleep with first? For a number of seconds, the hog tapped his chin, trying to his best to recall the first in what was an incredibly long list of women. I slept with. No, that's not it. It began with an R. It was, oh, I got it now. The one I slept with was Rogue. Mario's eyes snapped open so fast, it was almost like he saw a ghost. What? Sonic, you're not referring to. Oh, yes, I'm referring to the Southern Beauty from the X Men. Sonic, I know you've.
The fuck? How the fuck do they even know about the fucking
I don't
X-Men?
know. Yeah, wait, how do they know
Fucking
about it? There's no way this, like, takes place in the same world.
yeah, because like he says, alternate dimensions and shit. So how the fuck does Mario fucking know?
I don't know. Sonic, I know you've done some crazy things, but do you realize who we're talking about? This isn't just a member of the X-Men. She's one of their most respected, most powerful, and most important of all. She's one of the most dangerous. She can take your powers with as much as you touch, and if she held on long enough, she could make you pass out or possibly even kill you. I know that. And to add further fuel to this fire, she's a dating gambit. Look, Mario, I know you're shocked about this. Hell, you're probably wondering how I'm still alive right now. But trust me when I say that he didn't find out about it. Oh, wait, that says she's a dating gambit, not she is a dating gambit.
Yeah, it's fucking Mario talking. She's a dating a gambit. You
Yeah,
know,
well, it only has like an A after she's, and
she's a dating
that's
gambit.
why it threw me off. The two of us kept it a secret, plus this was during a very rocky time in their relationship. I get it. So they weren't necessarily friendly with one another when you two did this. Exactly, Sonic, you said with a nod, quotation mark. I see, but that still doesn't answer the question of how you were able to survive Rogue's powers. Mind starting from the very beginning so I can understand this a better? Not at not at all, my man. It all started back when I decided to pay Professor X's school a visit to see how they run things, you know? Really? You knew Professor Xavier? Yep. After I assisted the X-Men during one battle with the Brotherhood, they gave me a card that said I could visit at any time. You, my friend, are one lucky hedgehog. I wish I could do cool things like eat this. I'm sure your time will come at some point, bud. Now, like I was saying, flashback. Deep within the confines of Xavier's School for Gifted Children, Sonic was currently sitting down with the heroic, kind-hearted telepath, speaking with him about his experience, all while they sipped the tea that was freshly brewed by his trusty assistant and telepath, Jean Grey, aka Phoenix. Glad to see you share my sentiments about my students. While rough around the edges, they've truly come a long way since they first started here. And if you ask me, they're shaped up to be the finest examples of what a person should be, Professor X stated. You don't say, Sonic replied. I have to say, Professor, you've done an amazing job at teaching and raising these. as you call them mutants. Thank you, the professor said, his expression and tone then showing a slight bit of frustration. Although the real fight is really in trying to be accepted by humanity, who unfortunately don't see us as you do. To them, we're monsters, outcasts, to society, and all because we're different compared to most of them. We live in a society.
You get what you fucking deserve. God, what a. We live in a society.
Like that was the perfect moment to add that line, but then again, this was 2013, not 2019.
Oh, that fucking Joker movie came out too just this year, right? There's no
Did
fucking
it?
way. Yeah, it
I
had
have
to.
no idea what movies came out last year and this year.
I don't even watch movies, and I'm like 99% sure that
I expect.
shit came
I
out
ex- no
this year.
wait. Is this Xavier? I expect about as much. No wait. I think this is Sonic. Oh yeah, it is. I expect about as much. Humanity never quite understand that they don't always have to fear what they don't understand. But overall, I hope you're ignoring the hate and keeping your head up. Oh, of course we are, Xavier replied. And and of course, I'd be lying if I said it didn't have anything to do with the fact that the situation is at least far better than it used to be, as we have those such as Captain America and others, pockets of humanity who do fight in the prejudice, which is better than having no support.
Wait, Captain America was part of the fucking X-Men? What the
No, wait,
fuck?
I think X-Men's Marvel.
X-Men's Marvel.
Yeah, I think
Uh,
X-Men is Marvel, right?
hold on. Yeah, it's Marvel.
Alright. For a second, I thought that was DC and was like, wait a second. I wholeheartedly agree. I bet it doesn't get any easier though with the Brotherhood. The professor nodded. Thanks to a conversation they had earlier, both him and Sonic knew exactly why the Brotherhood was an aggressive and vigilant as they were as their leader, the ruthless Magneto, believed the mutants, otherwise known by their subspecies Homo superior, could not coexist with humans, and that they were the next stage in the evolution of the human race, and that if they were going to abuse them, they needed to wipe them off the face of the earth. Noticing the professor's silence, the blur continued on.
Ha, he said homo.
Oh no, the homos are superior.
They're gonna get me with the gay.
I'm gonna have fun editing this. Like drawing.
Oh, you're gonna edit all the fucking blooper shit out?
Yeah. I'm gonna
Uh,
I'm gonna like draw like Joker's face paint over Professor Xavier. And then just have the caption, "We live in a society."
we live in a society. You get what you fucking deserve.
You know, he reminds me quite a bit of my arch nemesis. Sonic then quickly added, "Well, if my nemesis was a racist with an entire species." Is that so? Yeah, and I have to stop him every now and no, scratch that. I had to stop him countless times, and no matter how many times I topple his machines, or crush his hopes to conquer the world, he still has not even considered giving up. Well, it sounds like you're going to have quite a lot of responsibilities. Well, you could say that. I may live for the love of an adventure, but unlike some, I don't like to abuse my powers for self gain. I work as hard as I can to protect the planet, to keep my promises to the people that I live on it, that to the people that live on it, and will do whatever it takes to keep them safe no matter what. Touched to see yet another living being saw the value in life like he did. The professor's lips curled into a wide and warm smile as he took Sonic's cup and refilled his tea. And this is why my students admire you. They don't just see you as an average hero, rather, they look at you as a symbol of hope. Wait, as a symbol of hope.
A
Think,
symbol of hope.
no, simple.
Yo, bro. Okay, listen. Just because this story was written by a fucking 13-year-old, okay, cut him some slack.
Dude, I'm gonna read it as it's written. It's a Bible.
It's a precious artifact of the past of how human civilization has developed in such a big brain fucking way.
Xavier began. They view you as an inspiring example of what they're capable of and exactly know how they should behave. It's thanks to you that less and less of them think of defecting to the Brotherhood or giving up. You help keep their spirits going when there's no one else that can. Thank you, Professor, though I am just doing my job and keeping the promise I made to myself. I'm not striving to be famous.
God, what a fucking ego-driven fucking asshole. Oh yeah, I know I'm a fucking hero, but I'm doing this only out of the goodness of my awesome and great, holy divine fucking personality that I have.
Well, this was like before he like matured.
Well, I can fucking suck my cock still.
Oh, trust me, I can already tell that much. Sonic returned the warm smile of the professor and took another sip of his newly replenished cup of tea. They talk for a little bit more until finally their attention is diverted when they hear the door rustling a slight bit. And right as they turn their heads, a familiar, stocky, yellow and blue garbed Canadian hero poked his head out. Hey, Charles, mind if. Oh, hey, Speedy, didn't know you were here. Wolverine greeted. How's it going, Knucklehead? Sonic greeted back. How's your arm doing after the sparring match we had? I hope I didn't mess you up too bad. Logan smirked. Oh, trust me. Once you've been through having the adamantium ripped from your skeleton, everything feels like a Sunday breeze. Don't worry, buddy. Those energy attacks of yours may have hurt like hell, but it'll take a lot more than that to put me down. Good to hear, Sonic said with a chuckle. Moving on though, what do you need the professor for? Private matters, the hero replied rather brusquely. Well, then, in that case, I'll be out of your way, the Sonic began as he stood up from his comfy leather chair. It was great talking to you, Professor. The pleasure's all mine, Sonic. It was nice to hear from someone who, for once, saw the value in peace like I do. Still keeping his smile, the blur started to make his way out the door when the professor stopped him. Oh, and Sonic, since you most likely don't have much to do at the moment, why don't you stick around for a little while longer? Maybe take a moment to talk with more of the students and just relax. Liking the sound of the offer, the blur nodded. Well, I guess I can stick around just a bit longer before I leave. And when the time comes, Logan began with a smirk. How about we have a little rematch? Once I'm done speaking with the professor. And this time, for great emphasis, with a snicked, Sonic watched as three recognizable, sizable, razor sharp metal claws launched from Logan's knuckles at speeds similar to a bullet being fired. How about we have no fancy tricks? Instead, it's just us going mono e mono. Smirking, the blur gave a small salute to the man along with a chuckle. This sounds great. I'm in, Sonic said excitedly. Well, see you, Professor. With a wave, the blur exited the office and carefully shut the door, leaving the student and the master alone to their business. A little bit later, Sonic was taking a walk through the halls of the Institute, admiring the architecture, and also thinking about what he could possibly do to pass the time. Well, let's see here, Sonic thought out loud. I already visited the Danger Room. I've seen the courtyard so many times I can sketch an accurate map of it from memory alone. I visited Beast's lab. A few moments after the final word, the blur immediately felt a yawn coming on as he let it out. It was right then the idea came to him. Come to think of it, maybe I should have a short nap before I leave. After all, I did come all this way to visit, and I worked myself to the bone with all that practice I got in the danger room. And of course, there was that sparring match I had with Wolverine. I think I've earned myself some shut eye before I leave. Before before Sonic would do anything, a familiar light blue reflective and friendly face came rushing towards him, to which the blur couldn't help but smile back. Hey Sonic, Bobby greeted. How did the talk with the professor go? Who the hell's Bobby?
Bobby? Dude, I haven't seen. I've only seen like the fucking show from like the
Oh,
fucking
he's
80s or
Ice.
90s.
He's Iceman. It went.
Oh, I don't fucking remember this guy at all. Who the fuck? Yeah, I don't know.
It went pretty well. So I know pressure's with us. Sonic.
Are you disrespecting the Sonic harem with your jokes?
You're really lucky to have someone as kind as him helping take care of you. You,
So fucking shit.
man, someone must be shitting up the storm in here, huh?
Yeah, fucking all those damn beans that motherfucker's been eating.
You see why I like him, right? Sonic nodded. It, it's weird, isn't it? Even though not a single one of us has any relation to him, whenever he speaks to us, it almost feels like he's the caring father or uncle we never had. I see why you think that way. He's definitely a great man, Sonic replied. Anyways, what's up? Hmm? Oh, right. I was wondering if Since you're clearly going to stay a little longer, would you like to game with me? Sorry, buddy, but I think I'll pass. Oh, I think one game wouldn't hurt, Iceman said with a smirk. After all, it's not like Wolverine took that much out of you, even if he did. I'm certain sitting on a couch with a controller and no, it with a control in hand is nowhere near as exhausting as training in the danger room. Well, Sonic began, his hand on his chin. Now that you mention it, after thinking about it for a few moments, the blur let out a sigh. Sorry, buddy, but I was thinking more of taking a small snooze cruise. You guys got a spare bedroom where I can get some shut eye? Yeah, I do. It's upstairs. Specifically, it's the seventh door on your right, Bobby said, his voice showing clear disappointment. Thanks, buddy, and look, I'll tell you what, maybe when I wake up, we'll play a little before I go, alright? Almost immediately, Iceman perked up. You got it. Unfortunately, the moment he flashed a thumbs up, the hero ended up by complete accident launching a ball of frozen terror straight into the blur's hand, which immediately caused him to fall flat on his face due to the added weight with the sight of the impact causing Bobby to wince. Crap, I sorry, he shouted with concern. I didn't mean to do that. After shaking himself free of the pain and making it clear to Bobby he wasn't mad, the blur wasted no more time and headed upstairs, following the exact directions Iceman provided. Right as he was reaching his target room, he quickly noticed two figures in a bedroom on his left, which prompted him just to a halt. Of course, his mind was telling him to simply get into the room and ignore what was taking place. But if there was one thing Sonic had always been known for, it was his curiosity, and soon it got the better of him, which resulted in him taking just a tiny peek at what was going on. And the moment he saw the gal in yellow and green, and a familiar Cajun fellow in leather trench coat, and listened to their voices, he knew right then and there that he was discovered he was one dead hedgehog. That was like one, two sentences. Don't you lie to me. I know exactly what I saw. Rogue began, her voice full of protest.
Uh, now that's good comedy.
I saw you openly kissing Storm. How could you? It was just a misunderstanding, mon ami. I don't have feelings for dear Storm, Gambit reasoned. Misunder. No, wait, hold on. We need different voices. A misunderstanding? And tell me, what did I see back there? A simple accident. Nothing to be so. Sorry to No, wait. Sorry to interrupt. The heroine began, crossing her arms. But most accidents don't end up with open French kissing in a room. Well, it ends like that for drunkards. Rogue couldn't help but sigh in frustration. Remy, if you were drunk, I swear I'd be able to sense it before even you could. Besides, I've seen you drunk. What I saw out there, that was preventable. Realizing he was running out of options faster than teens going through money at a casino, the quick-witted Gambit found himself for the first time ever completely cornered and just when he thought he had something going, the fiery southern belle lit up before he. And what was that you said about her? I think it was something like Dear Storm, is that right? Gambit opened his mouth to speak, his desire clearly being to prove his innocence. And yet, oddly enough, he let out no words, or at least he eventually did let them out, but they were not at all the words he was hoping for. Shit! As I expected, Rogue began. I can't believe you did this to me. Desperately, Gambit outstretched one hand. Mon ami, please. Without hesitation, Rogue slapped his hand away. Don't mon ami me, Bob. That ship has long sailed. I'm through with this. I can't take it anymore. I gave you a second chance when you almost kissed Kitty, and now you kissed Aurora. I can't take this anymore. Well, technically it was three because of that time with Jubil. Realizing that what he realizing what he just said in that moment, he was quite possibly the worst thing anyone could ever do. Almost immediately, Gambit's brain went into full panic mode, and the moment he saw the enraged Rogue starting to turn and make her way out, he quickly rushed to grab her arm. Anna, please, I'll make it up to you, I promise. Almost immediately and without hesitation, the heroine jerked her elbow back into Cajun's stomach, the impact being strong enough as she heard to send him stumbling into the wall behind him. Not willing to let that happen, though, she quickly grabbed a fistful of his jacket and lifted him up high. Forget it. We're done, mon ami. Right then and
Ooh, girl, you go. Ooh, girl, you fucking tell him.
right then and there, Lord took his leave without any hesitation. He charged for the seventh door and shut it. Woo, that was a close one, Sonic said, wiping sweat from his brow. Now to get some sleep. I swear I could have heard something.
Professor. Like, oh shit, this nigga eating beans.
Finally, with the privacy he desired, the Buddha stretched his arms out, let out a yawn, and then, with about as much grace as anyone would expect from one who has spent their entire day sparring in a deadly training simulation, he just let himself fall forward onto the bed, and after taking a few seconds to get into a position he felt most comfortable in, he was out cold. Seconds later, the leader of the X-Men, Cyclops, was walking down the halls to his room, his costume partially torn and body scarred from another intense training session in the danger room. That sentinel simulation took a lot out of me, he thought to himself. I need to get some Immediately his thoughts were silenced the moment he saw the body of his friend Gambit being sent flying from Rogue's room into the wall, the impact causing a hairline crack to develop right in the center. Right before he could rush to his friend, he heard what was quite possibly the angriest yell Rogue has ever given out. And stay the hell out! Moments
Ooh,
later,
girl.
she slammed the door shut, taking a moment to regain his bearings. The faithful leader then rushed to tend to Gambit as though he didn't have a second to spare. Remy, are you alright? The leader asked with concern in his tone as he slung one arm over him. I've been through worse, Gambit replied with a smirk, trying his best to remain cool. But I appreciate the help. Can you stand? Still smirking, Remy quickly grabbing his cane from his back and propped himself up on it as best as he could. With this I can. Remy's smirk soon faded and changed into a look of confusion when Scott merely crossed his arms and gave him what he guessed was a stern look. What, not in the mood for the humor? I'm usually not in the jokey mood when I've seen a friend of mine tossed into a wall by a comrade, Scott replied. Really? I find jokes help to numb the pain of cracked bones. Remy, enough with the comments. What the hell happened here? Finally realizing that Summers wasn't in the mood for games, the Cajun let out a sigh and lightly pinched the bridge of his nose. Fine, I'll tell you, but not here because, well, Scott then watched as Remy quickly pointed towards Rogue's room, which immediately gave him a hint, and with that, the two made their way down the stairs to discuss the matter at hand and left their comrade to her own devices. While she didn't necessarily shed any tears, as it wasn't the first time something like this had happened, Rogue still felt incredibly broken-hearted and tried as best as she could to blow out some steam and hopefully shake the pit in her stomach that the ordeal had left her with. When that didn't work, she thought then of comfort. A friend to talk with, to be exact. One who would listen to her pain. However, all the usual friends she'd go to talk for situations like this, she strangely felt no desire to visit. She didn't go to Kitty, Jean, or Roro. Well, or hell, she even considered going to Logan, and yet, no matter how much she wanted it, she for some reason couldn't motivate herself to go out and get the comfort she clearly needed. After a long moment of pondering, finally something came to her. She had heard a little earlier from Beast as she was wrapping up a mission that the legendary speedster and one of her many idols, Sonic, was currently at the Institute talking with the professor. At first, the gal considered simply taking or talking with him, but then, after a bit more thought, something more came up, and once she thought back to the rush of footsteps she heard moments earlier, the Southern Belle soon began to smile once more as she proceeded to rub her chin. I think I have an idea on how to cheer myself up, Rogue idolized. Alright, minutes later, the hog was sprawled out on the bed, resting ever so peacefully. He had kicked off his shoes and used the power of chaos to set them rather neatly down at the wall, next to the door to get comfortable. With a smile on his face and a complete lack of no size, with the exception being the occasional exhale of air from the hog's lungs. Everything lended itself well to one perfect nap. However, all of it was going to change when someone crept into the room, carefully laid next to the blur, and once they were sure he wasn't going to wake up, they started twirling their fingers in neat circles on his chest. Oh God. Eventually, after a few
Oh
moments,
yeah.
the blue the blur groaned softly and let out a groggy breath as his eyes slowly
Oh
pried
yeah.
themselves open with his mind full of wonder about who or what would want to interrupt his
Oh.
peaceful slumber. With one last throaty groan, the blur was almost completely awake. Dude, we're not
Fuck is being their meat.
dude, we're not at the end yet. Hold your applause.
Uh, I'm celebrating in a different way that's not clapping. Hey.
The blur was almost completely awake, and he took advantage of that moment to look around the room. At first, he noticed nothing until eventually he locked eyes with a female brunette with a single white streak in her hair, as well as seductive eyes and a mischievous smirk. Hey there, sugar! Rogue greeted.
Oh yeah, that's hot. Well,
Immediately, Sonic's defenses kicked into high gear as his eyes shot wide open, the followed up by the motion of him scooting back just a bit too far, which caused him to fall flat on his ass on the polished floors. What the hell? Rogue, what are you doing in here? Can't you see I'm trying to take a nap here? Sonic
what are you
shouted.
doing, Step Hog?
Sonic shouted excitedly at the X-Men member. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to ruin your nap. Rogue said with a
God,
sincere.
why the fuck does she sound like she has Down syndrome? Our head, Sonic. Our broke. Uh,
Well, if you want to do the female voice,
hey, Sonic.
if you want to do the female voice, I'll let you.
I'll probably fucking treat this story like a
It's like
fucking
I'm
joke.
thugging shit.
This story's already fucking too much of a joke. Hey, Sonic. You looking pretty sexy, Sonic.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Rogue said with
Rogue.
Rogue said with
What are you
superior.
doing?
What are you touching me?
What are you doing, Step Rogue? Sonic. You're so good.
Okay.
I heard a bunch of footsteps during an ordeal I had, and because of what happened during that, I just thought I'd come and find you. It was a little later when I found Bobby, who told me where you were, and once I saw you were sleeping, well, I thought I'd. Oh, you know what? Fuck it. I just thought I'd lay right beside you. Quotation mark.
Yo, Carlos, if you're gonna fucking listen to shit, fucking mute your mic.
Oh, can you hear that?
Yeah, we
Yes,
can
you
hear
fuck.
it.
Sorry.
Oh, well, that's nice of you. A few seconds later, the realization hit Sonic like a pile of bricks. Wait, what am I saying? Look, Rogue, I appreciate you wanting to keep me company, but all I have to ask is just why?
Rick. I'm so sorry, Sonic. I ate Mexican food.
You own my business?
I thought I just named you, Sonic. Sonic.
Well, that ordeal I just mentioned. Rogue paused for a moment.
You can like how you keep making fun of it.
Taking a breath and
Fucking
regaining
Down
composure.
syndrome, bro.
It's for comfort.
Dude, I gotta go fucking take a piss. I'll be back.
Alright.
Well, that idea I just mentioned
Rogue paused for a moment to take in a breath.
is for
And
comfort. I just wanted someone near me because I broke up with Gambit.
not wanting to give away that he eavesdropped on that whole situation, the blur wisely decided to focus on not acting surprised. I'm so sorry, Ro, but you could have asked someone else to help comfort you. Someone who's much closer to you than I am, like Bobby, for example.
True, I could, but when I thought about it and how much this has happened before, I felt that wouldn't help. Knowing you, however, and how apparently you dealt with some heartbreak in your life, I just thought it would be better this time if I came to you.
Having softened up a considerable amount, Sonic stood up with his tone showing far less anger and shock. Is that so? In that case, join me on the bed and tell me what's going on. The blur made his way back to the bed with Rogue lying beside him. Once he was within cuddle distance, the Southern Belle embraced the blur with the latter, using his powers to thankfully negate the deadly effects of the heroine's touch. Once that was done, Sonic returned the embrace and wrapped his arms around her. When they were in the position, it was then that Rogue told him everything about what happened between her and Gambit. And while he did know about that encounter, she went further and went over how this wasn't the first time this had happened, which caused the blur to feel all the more sorry for her, and it only convinced him to tighten his embrace. Hey, it's okay. I'm sorry to hear that happened to you, Sonic comforted. Don't let Remy get you down. What he did was terrible, sure, but remember, you've got a whole group of friends who love and respect you. You don't need Remy to make you happy. I'm sure that no matter who the member is, they'd be willing to do whatever they can to show you that you're valued.
Thanks, Sonic. That's just what I needed.
Rogue said with a small smile. No matter, or no problem. Help.
Whoa, bro, did we just travel back in time? Holy shit.
No problem. Helping others is what I do. It doesn't matter if they're sad, angry, or hurt, physically and or mentally. I'll do whatever it takes to make them feel better. Seeing how much brighter Rogue's smile became, it was then that Sonic felt he could take a load off his conscience. Hey Rogue, can I be honest with you?
At any time. What is it?
You see, I heard everything in your room while you and Gambit were having that fight, Sonic said, lowering his head in shame. I'm sorry for eavesdropping.
Oh, it's okay. You didn't know we were dating. Now it's video from the area. Anyone could have heard, really.
True, but when I helped you that one time in a fight against the Brotherhood, I could tell you guys were very close to one another, and considering my own experiences, honestly, that sort of hit me,
Hey, it's alright, sugar.
Rogue reassured.
I'm not mad. Remy's the one I'm pissed at. You, on the other hand, are just someone on accident wound up hearing something you shouldn't have, and so you let your curiosity get better of you. It happens to the best of people. Hell, it happens to me. There's no need to feel so ashamed.
Thanks, Rogue, Sonic said with a smile. A few minutes of silence then passed with the two of them having nothing to say, and after waiting a bit to see if Rogue was the one willing to break the silence, he
Give me
asked,
a voice.
he,
Give me a voice. Yo, nigga, give me a voice.
I don't know where you guys are at though.
Alright, so press Control F.
Well, I don't have a computer.
Oh my god. Alright, so scroll down to where you see minutes later.
Oh
It's
my
like,
god. How far are you on this?
we're like more than halfway.
That sounds about right. Sonic said, let's see. Am I close?
Uh,
Let's see.
He's
There's
like, look, Mario, I know you're shocked about this.
no
oh
way
no.
down. You gotta go
Okay.
farther than that.
About, shh, don't speak, just relax.
Don't speak, just relax. What?
Uh-oh. I don't think we're at that.
Shush. Um, fuck.
Oh yeah, yeah, you passed it. So like scroll up until you see
Oh, minutes later. I got it, yeah.
yeah. And then scroll down to thanks rogue. Like where it's at the beginning of the paragraph.
Thanks, Sonic?
No, thanks,
Y-
Rogue.
Oh,
Thanks,
I
Rogue.
got it, I got it.
Sonic said with a smile.
Okay, I got it.
Alright, you'll be Sonic, I guess. A, a few minutes of silence
Thanks,
then
Rogue.
Sonic said with a smile. A few minutes of silence then passed with the two of them having nothing to say, and after waiting a bit to see if Rogue was the one willing to break the silence, and after noticing that she wasn't going to speak, the blur finally took in a deep breath and broke everything. Carter, pressure.
So, what's the next step? Are you going to find a new love and see how things go with them, or are you going to remain single to give yourself some time to heal, you broke heart?
I'm leaning more towards the latter for now. I gave Remy far too many chances, and him blowing this one. I don't feel dating right now. Wait, I don't feel dating right away as a good option.
Well, either way, I wish you only the best.
Oh, thanks. So come
Rogue
to think of
began.
shit. So come to think of it, if we were to speed up the process, I think I need something more to help me make feel better. The comforting was nice, but I could use something more.
Like what? A kiss?
Sonic asked jokingly. Rogue smiled, but she did not give an answer, or at least he did not get it vocally. A few seconds later, the Southern Belle climbed on top of the blur and sat on his lap. Her clutch, just barely grazing against his. Without any hesitation,
Whoa,
she
whoa,
then
whoa!
followed.
You can't skip it. You gotta say it.
I did.
You gotta say it clear.
All right. A few seconds later, the Southern Belle climbed on top of the blur and sat on his lap. Her clutch crotch.
Her clothed, her clutched crotch. The Southern Belle climbed on top of the blur and sat on his on his lap. Her cloth crotched.
Just
Should I
barely.
be the fucking narrator? Would that be
No.
better?
No.
Let me have his moments. Go
Her
ahead.
cloth, her cloth crotch just barely grazing against his. Without any hesitation, she then followed it up by pressing her hands against the hog's firm chest. All the while, her gaze was locked with the blurs, who wasn't exactly scared as most men would be, but rather he was more curious about what was going on with Rogue, which Rogue could tell by how one of his eyebrows was cocked upward, though she still could tell through his tone of voice that he was at least slightly concerned.
Wrong. What are you doing?
Sonic asked.
Why you sound so afraid?
Rogue asked with a giggle.
What would I be? At one moment you're clearly depressed and you're yearning for
Yeah,
comfort, and the next moment you're stranding me. Uh, most gals don't exactly do that.
sure. But you see, Sonic, I am still sad. I'm also still hurting inside. And so I thought to help me make the pain go away,
The gal leaned down on until she was just inches from the blur's face.
I have some fun with you.
Okay. What do you mean by that?
Not saying a single word, Anna kept her seductive smile and remained in her current position.
You and me are going to spend some time together in this room, and it will be your best night ever. Oh, and if you're concerned about someone discovering us, not to worry. I locked the door when I came in. No one's gonna be crashing this.
Rogue explained.
Wait a minute.
Sonic began, the gears in his head finally turning.
Are you telling me what I think?
As quickly as it began, his sentence was silenced by a finger to his lips.
Don't speak. Just relax.
No. Feeling all his defenses have finally broken down, the blur could do nothing but nod his head in response as his hormones slowly started to take control. With the seductive smile still present, Rogue leaned in closer, and in what felt like a flash, her lips locked with the blur's. Without any more hesitation, the blur kissed back as hard as he could, thus beginning their makeout session as the hormones started to tighten their control on the blur. His arms immediately started snaking themselves around Anna's figure, which led to her wrapping her arms around his neck in response. Soon the blur's hands were skillfully starting to caress the gal's bod, and would eventually find themselves moving down to her waist. As time went on, the two of them began to deepen the kiss, which soon led to the air around him, as well as the act becoming far more steamy and erotic. Soon their tongues were brutally wrestling with each other. Deciding to make things a bit more interesting, Rogue released one of her hands from around his neck and made her way down to his clothed crotch and gave it a quick, gentle squeeze. The sudden sensation causing him to let out a muffled moan, which encouraged him to kiss her back even harder. After a little while longer, the two went back to the classic kiss to the lips and remained like that for a few more seconds. After those seconds were up, they finally broke the union to get some air.
Mm. Now that's what I possibly the sweetest, most tender kiss I ever had. Way better than Gambit.
Rogue commented, licking her lips.
For you, it was.
Sonic said breathlessly.
Forgive me for not sounding so antecede. Huh?
Enthused.
Into,
Forgive me for sounding so
to,
enthused.
I'm not exactly the most appreciative of nearly getting suffocated to death.
Sonic reminded.
Don't be such a sourpuss, sugar. You were just caught off guard by a touch of the crotch. It wasn't that bad.
Stopping for a moment, Sonic put his hand on his chin and gave it a thought. After all, he never really had something like that happen to him before, and even then, he knew from Charles that the last thing Rogue would want to do to anyone was hurt them, and so after a bit, and with a sigh, he finally relaxed.
You make a very good point. Guess I'm just not very used to it.
Riri.
Why'd she go Asian?
I don't know how to fucking say that like fucking some Down syndrome kid. Like, Riri. Just shut up.
Breathe.
It's gonna be fucking Asian for the moment. Oh, Riri.
Rogue asked, her tone full of surprise.
Well, tell me, how are you enjoying it? Chef? Oh, it looks like I already have my answer.
Sun Ice walks out to the
Son, I.
The fucking so nice.
I don't fucking know. Brand new character. Shit. We need to get somebody else in.
Sun Ice watched as a girl froze in place with the only part that moved being her eyes, which shot towards his the rather uncomfortable bulge in his pants, the sight of which caused the gal's smile to grow.
Oh, right. It looks like it's being strangled. Here, I'll help it brew a riddle.
Ro cooed. A few seconds later, the Southern Belle wasted time in climbing off the blur, which left her once more right beside him. And once she had the perfect position, she wasted no time and proceeded to undo the buttons and zipper of the cargo pants. And after a few more seconds, she finally unveiled his 9.5-inch pride and joy. Pleasantly surprised by the length as well as the thickness, Rogue lipped her lips and proceeded to wrap her hand around the base, which was followed up by a nice little test stroke which caused the blur to shiver with pleasure.
Looks like somebody's excited.
Rogue said with a chuckle.
I don't want to read this anymore.
It's too bad we fucking committed to this shit. We gotta do it for the non-existent fans pressure.
Or when this channel gets discovered like 10 years later.
Yeah. we're gonna be in our like fucking 50s by the time this fucking shit takes off. And we're gonna have to look back at this with fucking complete like shit. What the fuck was I doing when I was younger? This is a god awful nightmare. Okay, and see. Hey, if you don't mind, is it fine that I have a taste sugar?
considering how considering how he was practically on cloud nine and would obviously be insane to stop now. The blur almost instantly gave the gal permission to proceed, and then without any hesitation, the girl proceeded to stroke it a little bit more as a small warm up. Once that was done, the Southern Belle started to slowly engulf the hard cock with every inch she went down, causing the blur to groan more and more hoarsely. Once it was
Nay.
once it was completely sheathed inside of her mouth, like a sword in its sheath, she then proceeded to bob her head up and down the massive length. After a few more seconds, the hog let his head recede more into the pillow and his eyes closed. the only sounds he made being some light moans, along with the occasional muttered curse as Rogue worked her magic. As time passed on, the heroine soon started to pick up the pace with her head sliding up and down far more speedily, to the point where she was slobbering all over his length. After a little while had passed, she paused for a brief moment once she was at the base, and let the cock sit at the back of her throat for a few moments before then proceeding to slide up to tease the head with her tongue twirling round and round. The entire experience sending shivers down Sonic's spine.
Oh, fuck! Ah!
Bro,
And the whole time was getting so into it. He proceeded.
yeah, bro, fucking Ricky Funkybunch is over here is becoming a full-blown fucking voice actor in a world where Sonic gets his cock gobbled.
Sonic moaned, stopping after another short burst of bobbing her head. The gal pulled free from the hog's engorged member and quickly spat on her hand, which she followed up by using that same hand to rapidly stroke him.
Ah, you like that, baby? I can't. I fucking can't. I'm fucking dying.
Rogue questioned, her intense gaze locked with the blur's own. With the pleasure being so great, all Sonic could do was in response was nod. But even if he did want to say something, he'd never be able to do since in the amount of time it would take for his answer to be out. The gal was already back to exploring his mouth with her tongue, and this was happening while she was jacking him off. As time went on, and as he continued to stare down at the gloved hand, pumping his member like it was one of those bottled milkshakes, the blue blur was trying to piece together how this could have happened. Of course, deep down, he should have known that it was either due to his hormones or if he really wanted to be a dick to himself. It could have been that he was spineless and couldn't say no, but those thoughts were either buried deep within his mind or they never existed in the first place, because he sure as hell couldn't bring them out. Everything happened far too fast to really see it coming. One moment the blur was just taking a nap. After that, Rogue came in and he thought he was just being a friend by comforting her now. Here he was now, being pleasured by that same girl, almost as though nothing happened, and it all occurred in the span of minutes. Pressure.
Where we at again? Oh, what could have happened?
The blur asked himself.
Was there something in the air? Was it something he did? Did it have something to do with chaos energy? All this
All
and more.
this,
Wait.
all this and more never really got answered until much later, though. At least one thing was certain. It was next time on Dragon Ball Z Kai. To Sonic, this was
What? Fuck you mean Dragon Ball Z?
On the next episode of Dragon Ball Z, will Sonic blow his load in the back of Rogue's head or not?
to, to Sonic, this was one of the best things to ever happen to him in his life. And instead of trying to reject his feelings, he was going to embrace every moment of his enjoyment. After a minute or two, the blur shrugged off his all fault his all hold on. After about a minute or two, the blur shrugged off his worry and concern and was kissing back harder than ever before. The intimate but one-sided dance was becoming a thing of the past as the two pink bits of flesh were now like two ticked off pythons trying their best to strangle the life out of one another, which is more than a nice surprise for the mutant, who was absolutely reveling in not just the attention he was giving her, but just how much better it was than Gambit's in every single way. God, you guys don't get to say shit. The feel of his tongue struggling for dominance against hers, the way his hands caressed every curve and bump, all of it was like fine wine. It was so delicious and intoxicating, which left Rogue wondering if he was only going to ever get better with age, since for all she knew, this was the first time, and yet here he was, massaging her almost like he had done this over 100 times before. It was so good, in fact, that she regretted having to push his hands away and see the disappointment in his eyes. However, that wouldn't last long, as a few moments later followed the period of her jacking him off, with her only stopping every now and again to spit on his cock to lube it up. The gal finally decided it was time to get his lower region reacquainted with her oral cavity. After one final kiss, Rogue turned her attention back to the twitching eager rod and sucked it back right into her mouth, with Sonic letting a soft moan escape from his lips following the return of that comforting warmth. Noticing the blur's newly developed grin, the mutant decided that it was time to go all in like what she did before, and deep-throated all 9 or so inches of the massive shaft. A move that caught the cog completely off guard, though it didn't take long for him to really get back into it, especially once he heard the light bits of gagging. After a few more seconds of holding the pole of flesh, Anna went right back into her groove and started bobbing her head once more, with the pace increasing with seemingly every passing second. Now completely under the influence of his pleasure, and with a muttered curse, the blur shot his eyes with his hands, instinctively finding a resting place on the mutant's head, a sign that the gal correctly took it as him not wanting her to alter magic. A few minutes pass, and not once Rogue
Holy
decreased
shit,
the
Pressure. Can you
pace.
fucking mute yourself? Fuck, bro, you're over here fucking fumbling with your phone and shit. Just fucking little shit. I can't beat my meat to this if you're making so much noise.
Decreasing the pace for even a second. As for the blur, it was at this point that he was starting to feel that the intensity was finally catching up to him. His muscles tensed and twitched. His grip on the gal's hair tightened almost to uncomfortable levels. The veins in his neck were bulging, and although he couldn't see it, he assumed the same was able to be said about his member. Through all this, combined with the increasing hints within his loins, the hedgehog knew he was close, and that it was only a matter of time before he'd finally blow. But like he did with all his battles, he tried his best to hold out for just a little bit longer. A move that the gal instantly noticed.
Trying to resist it, eh?
Rogue thought, her lips instantly desiring to curl into an evil grin.
Try resisting this.
And with that, the mutant completely took the blur by surprise, with the addition of her hand twisting up and down his length at the same time her head was still bobbing, causing the blur to start sweating and cursing in a matter of seconds as he still tried to keep his cool. Finally, after several long minutes of enduring the cock and ball torture, Blur's muscles. the
Cock and ball.
the Blur's muscles just gave out, and with that came the explosion. Pressure.
Fuck! Fuck.
The moment he sounded off that cry, it was almost like a warning that came seconds too late, as right when he was on the verge of saying it, jet after jet of his sperm came bubbling and launching from his bulge and into the cow's mouth. Right then, Rogue's eyes came shooting open as they seamless as the seemingly endless waves of spunk kept pounding the back of her throat. This caught her off guard, so much so, in fact, that the gal was actually at first trying to pull away, but eventually, once she got used to the salty and yet surprisingly very sweet taste, she remained on it and kept sucking, which of course prompted a scream from the blur. After the climax finally ended, Rogue slowly pulled away from the surprisingly still fairly hard shaft and swallowed the remaining cum. And once she felt it slide comfortably down her gullet, she licked her lips.
Now that was tasty.
Fuck.
I thought if I had a little bit of my fucking apple juice, it would make a better sound, but
No, no, that was fine. It was just pressure's like, what the fuck? Stop. Rogue commented with a smirk, looking over at the blur. The gal was rather surprised to find him in quite a daze, his face looking as though he was seeing stars. After having a small giggle, she leaned in close to the speedster and gave him a quick peck on the cheek, and the motion then prompting him to snap out of it and jerk his head towards the hero.
did you enjoy that, sugar?
Rogue asked.
It felt incredible.
Sonic said, his voice slightly hoarse.
Oh, I take it you've done this before, huh? Fucking
A
whore.
few times the gambit, yes.
The blur had a light chuckle.
Huh. I feel you say. Because from the point of view, it almost seems like you're doing this your whole life.
What the fuck was that? It's like,
Okay,
a bit of, whole life.
okay, I'll start over. I feel you say, because from my point of view, it almost seems like you've been doing this. I feel you say, because of my point of view, it almost seems like you've been doing this your whole life. You were a pro.
The hero giggled at the compliment.
Oh, thank you. You made studying all those positions and actions feel way less pointless.
You're very welcome.
The blur said with a smile.
Hey, and for the record, after experiencing that, I think gambling made a terrible choice in.
Realizing that what he was about to say had the potential of destroying the mood, the blur tried, keyword being tried, to change the subject.
You know what? I think just gonna stop talking now, bitch.
Smart. I'm gonna stop talking now, bitch. A smart move. And while we're at it,
I just like whenever Dominic
Fucking
like
read.
just
no,
goes
hold on.
to
Fucking
whenever
You read too slow.
whenever Dominic like busts out laughing, Discord like cuts the audio and it makes a perfectly cut scream every time.
the fuck you mean? What are you talking?
Like if you watch through the video, your audio will cut out like right at the climax of your laugh.
Hurry up and read. Shut up.
Taking advantage of that window of time, Anna positioned herself to where her crotch was just grazing his shaft, with her hands immediately rushing to slip right out of her jacket.
Why don't we get right into the real action?
In response, the blur almost immediately, and in complete contrast to how he was moments before, flashed a seductive look at the gal, complete with a smirk to match.
Baby, you just read my mind.
And just like that, the blur's upper body jerked upward, and as soon as he was inches away from her face, he immediately pressed his lips against hers. On his first lucky try, gripped the zipper to her outfit and started undressing her, all while the two continued to make out. With her heroic nature then kicking in, the gal decided to assist the blur with a quick and expert removal of her own bra, which happened all while without having her break the kiss. After a little bit of fiddling and standing up for the sake of getting a good grip on the fabric, the mutant's bare body was finally there for the hog to see. Entranced by her curves and incredible frame, the blur took a moment to admire the view, the sight of which was causing Rogue to blush. A little bit later, the Hog then decided it was his turn to catch the gal off guard, and with that in mind, he quickly wrapped his arms around her, and in that same length of time pulled her close.
Oh, looks like someone's really ready to have some fun.
Rope pointed out, prompting the blur to give an unashamed smile.
I don't know why Gabler would be so foolish as to leave such a sweet thing like you. You're absolutely beautiful.
Sonic commented.
Why, thank you, Sonic.
Rogue said with a blush.
It's always nice to have someone like you with my spirits. But enough talk. I think it's time to get down some action.
I was thinking the same thing, baby.
Without warning, Rogue pulled the blur close and crushed her mouth against his, and at the same time she wrapped her arms around him, getting over the surprise of continuing their very primal struggle of tongues. The blur took notice.
But this is like the best sex story I ever heard.
Oh, yeah, bro, this is better than any pornos I've ever seen.
This is better love story
I
than
never remember
Twilight.
doing this with my girlfriend, like my ex girlfriend.
Dude, this has more like care and caress written into the story than the Bible did.
The blur took notice of the bell's rather plump derriere, which gave him a devious idea. Then, in a few seconds, his hands lowered to the firm mounds and started to squeeze them, with the move catching Grove completely by surprise. It didn't last long, however, as in a matter of seconds she was right back to resuming the kiss. After a few more minutes, the two finally broke away from one another before either one of them has a chance to catch their breath. The blur quickly grabbed Rogue by the shoulders in a firm but careful manner. He tossed her down on the bed, and before her surprise could catch up to her, he quickly joined her. It was here where he with It was here where, with a quick move of his arms, the hug spread the bell's legs wide open, exposing her. I didn't mean that to sound Western or whatever.
The hog spread Bella's legs wide open. Yeah.
Exposing her most private area, which was red and swollen, signs that it was begging for attention.
Or it had a
Noticing
goddamn horrible infection.
that too, noticing the blur's grin, the gal returned the look with a smirk, as well as her curling her fingers towards herself, signal clearly being for him to come closer and finally take her, which was only made even more apparently by the "come and get me" look she had on her face. That only had one quotation mark.
Yeah, I have no fucking idea what he was fucking thinking.
Listening to her wordless command, The quick the blur quickly got himself into position and arranged his cock so that it was just barely pressing against the outer lips, which incited a light moan from the gal. Taking the chance to get back at her a little bit for teasing him so much, the hog began to slowly rub his member along the outer region of the mutant's aching warmth, which incited even more light moans from her, as well as silent pleas for him to finally drop everything and start pounding her. Even
That fucking that fucking moment.
I was clearing my throat. Eventually, eventually, her wish was granted as once he saw she was good and ready. The blur wasted no more time and immediately started pushing with them, watching intently as every inch was swallowed into the caverns with the intense warmth and pressure immediately rushing over him. Then, once he saw he was completely in, he let it sit for a few more moments before then proceeding to immediately pick up the pace. give Rogue all that she had coming to her. With the pleasure being so great, the mutant felt her eyes roll into the back of her skull. The way Sonic was pounding her was far beyond anything Gambit was capable of. The way his length filled her, the way his cobalt flesh pressed against and massaged her walls, the sound his balls would.
I like how he could fucking like look at the screen with a straight face, but then just hearing you say something as stupid as fucking that.
The sound is. Don't you replay that.
The sound his balls would make.
As they smacked into her flesh. All this and more was driving the gal completely mad, and as far as she was concerned, she loved every moment of it, as evidenced by the way her nails dug into the bed sheets and her near constant moans. On the other hand, Sonic was having a ball with all this. The whole experience was almost unreal, as never in his life would he have ever imagined getting to meet the X-Men, much less bang one of their members. But to see that it was happening, and that this wasn't any sort of dream, the Hawk had to admit, this was one hell of an amazing surprise. Right as, right as the walls clenched down on him even tighter, the blur let out a throaty growl, the increasing warmth only prompting his thrust to become faster and far more primal, which in turn prompted far more screams from the mutants.
Hey, hey, oh, that's it. Right there, baby. Give it to me. That feels so good. A girl out there make them smile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rogue moaned, her senses. Rogue moaned. Rogue moaned, her senses now completely overtaken by the intense pleasure. After a little bit more, the gal decided she wanted even more, and so without even a second of thought, she quickly wrapped her arms around the hog and pulled him close, which prompted him to thrust much faster and a whole lot harder. Soon the gal's moans began to raise in pitch, which was matching the tightening of her grip, thus indicating to Sonic that what he was doing was driving her crazy, which only encouraged him to go even faster.
Fuck. Fuck. Right there. Right. Right there. Oh my god.
I fucking pissed myself.
Fuck. Fuck.
Rogue shouted in a very hoarse tone. With the speed he was going, and combined with how much the caverns were practically strangling his cock, The blur grit his teeth and tightened his grip around her thighs. After a little bit more time passed, the gal found herself wanting even more pleasure, and so she tilted her head to the side, recognizing what she wanted. The blur leaned down and started kissing and nibbling at her neck, which prompted even more moans from the sex-crazed mutant. This action continued for several more minutes, with the pace constantly getting fast, pace getting constantly getting higher and higher, so much so that the bed even started to rock back and forth. After a little bit more, Sonic decided it was time to switch positions. With a quick signal to Rogue, they did just that. After that, the blur, now completely lacking his shirt, found himself flat on his back, his hands gripping the voluptuous vixen's supple mounds, with the latter being on top. Her legs spread over along his thighs. Without wasting any time, the gal was bouncing herself up and down with her moans steadily approaching the pitch they were before, with the time it took to get to that point only shortening once the blur started to squeeze and knead her breasts. After a few mo- After a few more minutes of fondling her fleshy mounds, the hog, the hog, God damn it! The hog decided to switch things up a bit and moved to her waist, following which he wasted no time in starting to massage her ass. The hog was absolutely enjoying himself, and with the view he had, it was almost like watching a TV show, or at least it was as though he was living out a scene in a porno. As time went on, Rogue found her breasts starting to become more and more heavy as the ecstasy she felt began to increase along with sonic speed. Soon her ass was clapping against the blur's thighs, with the sound of it only serving to draw sonic attention back to that lovely place. Immediately, once he looked down at her waist, the blur wasted no time and carried out his devious scheme and delivered one hard smack to that bubbly ass, the impact causing her to squeal.
Is that me?
No, that's Rogue. Is Mr. Wolf here?
I'm sorry. I'm fucking. Hold Hold on. Let me take a drink.
Gotta get ready.
Er, yeah. Give it to me. That's the spirit.
Rogue cried out, not wanting to be outdone. The gal increased the pace, with her ass slapping harder and harder against Sonic's lap with every passing moment, which was all in an attempt to keep her pleasure-fueled high going. It was also at this point where, after a long time of speaking loudly and trying her best to keep it cool, the gal finally cut loose and started screaming.
Er, er, er. Yes. Yes. Right there. Right, right there. Yeah. God, I hope my fucking family's not awake. It's fucking it's 2:30 in the morning. And I'm fucking doing this shit.
All this and more was music to Sonic's ears, and it only prompted him to increase his speed even more. After all, gotta go fast. Time. Time flies by. The two of them were now completely drenched with sweat, and yet they kept pushing forward. In an attempt to center herself, the gal pressed her hands into the bed sheets and stops for a moment to rock her hips a bit on the blur's pulsing meat. The hog groaned, grunted, growled. He made basically every incomprehensible sound that was known in the universe. After a little bit, Blur found himself being reminded by Rogue's rock and rack once he saw them bouncing.
Sounds like some shit you'll order at a barbecue place. Yeah, bro, I'll take one rocket rack.
One of Rogue's rock and racks, please.
And I want it to be a wet rub, baby.
Once he saw them bouncing in such a neat rhythm, which in turn reminded him about how they've received so little attention. Desiring to fix that, the Blur wasted no time and proceeded to grip and fondle them, which prompted a smile from the mutant, which only encouraged him to tease her more. The Blur then just proceeded to squeeze them a little tighter with his fingers, on occasion pinching and tweaking the hardened nipples, which would more often than not earn him a high-pitched scream from the beauty coupled with her increasing the pace of her bouncing.
Eh, 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 oh god. Oh yeah. Oh fuck. Oh, this feels so freaking good.
What the fuck?
Rogue squealed, her voice filled with passion. After just a few more minutes, the pair switched positions again, with this time being the classic action known as doggy style. Without any hesitation, once he was in position, the Blur penetrated the gal once more with his hands digging into her waist. The pleasure was becoming hard to bear as Rogue soon found her eyes rolling backwards once more, and her nails practically stabbing through the sheets as she continued to scream as loudly as she could, with it all being coupled by the goofiest smile on her face.
Give it to me, Sonic. That's it. Keep going. Don't you dare stop. Keep freaking going.
I don't think you're supposed to use goofy in a sex scene.
The goofiest smile. Yeah. Hey, Rex.
Your, your dad doesn't just have sex, Max. Your dad fuck yucks.
He doesn't have sex. He yucks.
Rogue screamed, her head looking over to see the progress the Blur was making. The Blur groaned once more. The tightening in his balls was quickly becoming more than he could take, which signaled to him that another climax was inevitable. Unbeknownst to him, Rogue was also feeling the same sort of sensation as her pussy was dripping more and more, with her being more than a little impressed at how she was able to keep this going for over half an hour.
Rug.
Sonic began in between moans.
Ah, I'm gonna. Ah, I'm gonna.
Was that Sonic moaning?
A, a 13-year-old made this?
I don't think I can. I don't really want to say.
Gotta do it for the cloud. Cream. Just say cream.
Hold on, I can catch my breath. Girl, I'm Sonic. Come, give me, give me everything you got.
Rogue moaned. With a few more thrusts and a mighty scream, the two went through an earth-shattering climax, with Sonic's spunk filling every bit of Rogue's caverns, while the latter's juices came splashing out like a geyser, with it completely drenching the blur's thighs and cock. After holding himself there for just a bit longer, Sonic unsheathed his cock from the gal, and with a few final strokes he released the final ropes of semen on her ass. After taking a few quick breaths, the blur found himself collapsing on the spot right next to Rogue.
Mm.
Yeah, that's what. That was amazing.
Rogue gasped out, sighing in happiness, right as she licked the last bit of semen off her fingers.
Yeah, it was. It sure was. It was beyond amazing.
Sonic commented with a chuckle, his arm wrapped around the mutant's neck.
So how are you now? You feel any better?
Very much so.
Rogue replied with a nod.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. I'm always happy to help in any way I can.
Feeling a little mischievous, the blur added a little something extra.
By the way, you were incredible.
I think you're the one who deserves more compliments.
The blur let out a chuckle.
Nah, you're the one who deserves it all. I mean, I was just the guy who had to thrust for a couple of minutes. You were the one brave enough to start this all off.
Sure, but remember, Sugar, you're the one who managed to resist my powers.
With the mention of that last word, Rogue's eyes widened just a bit.
Speaking of which, how did you manage to do that?
Smirking, the blur used his Smirking, the blur used his free hand to point to his chest, and once she laid her eyes on it, she watched as it pulsed for a split second with energy.
Chaos energy.
Sonic explained.
One of the techniques you can learn once you master it is an ability that what
Yeah, negates.
negates most of its natural powers that take away your own. It's kind of like having force field for another layer of skin.
Okay. Forget the sex. That's impressive.
Rogue replied, her voice full of surprise. Followed, Following Sonic's short chuckle, the two remained silent for a few more seconds, though eventually it was broken.
Well,
Sonic began.
I think now it's time for me to take a nap.
Wait.
Rogue commanded.
Hurry up and read. Bitch, you want my number or not? Hurry up.
Be- Prefer, prefer, prefer you.
Hurry up and read it. Oh,
Shut
shit.
up! Fucking
Before you leave. Before you leave.
I'm trying. Prefer you.
Oh my
Prefer,
fucking god.
prefer you to. I, I was wondering. Do you want my phone number?
All right.
Sonic said, confused.
What's it for, though?
Well, it could be used for anything really, sugar.
Rogue began.
You can use it to call me for help in taking down your villain if you need me for when you're feeling down. Or
The gal leaned down and lowered her tone into a seductive whisper.
you can use it to set up events like this again.
Whether it was due to his hormones still acting up or him really enjoying the sex, the blur smiled.
In that case, I especially love your number.
Great to hear.
Rogue said with a smile.
I'll give it to you before you leave. But right now, I think I'm gonna follow your lead and get some rest.
Right at that moment, Rogue's lips curled into a smirk once a particularly naughty idea entered her mind.
Or at least that's what I would be saying if I wasn't so full of energy from you accepting my phone number.
Smirking, Sonic turned back to her.
You think what I'm thinking?
Sonic asked.
Oh, yes.
Rogue said with a nod.
So what do you say, sugar? Wanna go for another round?
Without any hesitation, Sonic had shifted his position to where he was on top of the gal with his quickly hardening cock now resting neatly against her folds.
Does that answer your question?
Sonic asked, smirking.
Oh, you know it, baby.
Rogue replied. With that all said and done, the blur wasted no time and thrusted inside the gal once more, thus beginning what was sure to be a long second round. So,
Finally.
thoughts on this first chapter?
Jesus. That's like a dream.
That's like a dream.
Like, I wish I had that fucking situation.
You wish you were a fucking hedgehog having sex with a mutant?
No. Oh, is
Nah.
that mutant? Never mind.
Yeah, it's from the X-Men. They're called mutants, the people with
Oh,
special powers.
So, like, most of them are like human more than, I guess, beast or whatever that shape shifting girl is. Yeah.
Well, first things first, I'm feeling pretty lightheaded because I fucking laughed a lot, so my head fucking hurts.
Oh, I am too. Oh, man, I wish Taylor could have joined us.
Who's that?
I don't know.
Nerf
I'm just
Yamcha,
getting,
you fucking moron.
I'm just getting tired.
Yeah, dude, it's
Well,
fucking 5 till 3 in the morning, dude. Holy shit.
we've been recording for 2 hours 48 minutes.
Fuck, dude, that was a long ass read.
Well, if you enjoyed this episode, please leave a like and leave a comment saying if we were great reading or whatever.
We were garbage. The fuck you talking about?
Hopefully, I'll make something good out of it.
Make a
I
fucking
doubt.
gif where Sonic is smacking the ass of Rogue.
But, anyways, please be sure to join us next week for Chapter 2 Riku Sphere of Affection.
Who the fuck is Riku?
Well, hold the fuck on, I'm seeing.
Riku.
Type in Sphere Hunter as well.
Spear Hunter.
Sphere, like circle, 3D.
Oh, Sphere. Hunter?
Yeah.
And what am I supposed to, like, what, click on images or something?
Yeah. Oh, she's from Final Fantasy.
Ew, she looks like a fucking hippie.
Oh, Final Fantasy X2. Please join us next week or whenever.
Shit, what am I gonna do with this gallon of cum now?
Bye.
Sally's like,